it's not an ordinary show, I'm afraid, because there have been some absolutely appalling events emerging from Liverpool. Just to reiterate the news, if you're just joining us, a 53-year-old white British man has been arrested after a car ploughed into a crowd of people during Liverpool FC's victory parade. This was meant to be a day of joy, of celebration, but clearly the events that have transpired have shocked not only the Prime Minister, not only people in the city, but people up and down the country. Merseyside police were contacted just after 6 o'clock this evening following reports of a car that had been in a collision. That's the words of Merseyside police, with a number of pedestrians on Water Street. The car stopped at the scene and a male has been detained. Emergency services currently on the scene. This happened at Liverpool city centre. We know from the police there and from our reporter there that this was an extremely busy day. This was the victory parade. There have been sort of similar events up and down the country. For context, you've had Crystal Palace here in London, where they won the FA Cup, and so you've had hundreds of thousands of Crystal Palace fans lining the streets, parts of the capital. You have had similar with some of the playoff football matches we've had in the capital, Sunderland, AFC Wimbledon in the last few days. You have had the same with Arsenal women. They won the Champions League a few days ago, and they had their victory parade today. And Liverpool, obviously the Premier League is, the sort of magnitude of a trophy such as that meant that people from up and down not only the country, the world would have flocked to that particular city, to Liverpool, to bask in the glory of Liverpool winning the Premier League, winning a hugely anticipated football tournament. It was meant to be a day of celebration, but as we've been hearing here, what has transpired is clearly extremely shocking. We've heard from the Prime Minister as well. Sir Keir Starmer has been putting out a statement. He says, just to reiterate it to you, the scenes in Liverpool are appalling. My thoughts are with those injured or affected. I want to thank the police and emergency services for their swift and ongoing response to this shocking incident. I'm being kept updated on developments and ask that we give the police the space that they need to investigate. We've also heard that the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, of course, who deals with matters of national security, is being kept regularly briefed by Merseyside police, by various police chiefs on that particular incident. We are only just getting this news now, of course. It's happened a couple of hours ago, just after 6, according to Merseyside police. But as you would expect with various, as Natasha Clark, our political editor, was saying, with misinformation that often can garner significant traction during these times, we are being very careful with the facts. We will bring them to you as soon as we get them here on LBC. We have a reporter in Liverpool, Chris Chambers. We'll be speaking with him in just a moment. If you are, we heard earlier on Daniel in Blackpool, whose brother was at the Liverpool celebrations. Thankfully, he heard from him shortly after this attack, and some of the pictures that Daniel was describing, that his brother had described to him, were absolutely shocking. People screaming, as you can imagine, the most appalling, unimaginable scenes, footage on social media, whether that has been completely verified or not. Certainly some of the pictures, the huge swathe of police presence there at the moment, the number of ambulances and police cars that have, the whole, sort of looking at pictures now of Water Street, but also the centre of Liverpool, it is completely deserted. When you think a few hours ago, there were close to 1 million people there. They've now completely evacuated the whole area. To bring you what we said earlier as well, just to reiterate, a 53-year-old white British man has been arrested. And a further statement from Merseyside police that has just come into us. We would ask people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding tonight's incident on Water Street in Liverpool city centre. We can confirm the man arrested is a 53-year-old white British man from the Liverpool area. Extensive inquiries are ongoing to establish the circumstances leading up to the collision. We would ask people not to share distressing content online, but to send the footage or information directly to us at MERPOLCC, which Merseyside Police, or to pass on information by calling 101, quoting 784. If you have friends or family who have been there, if you are in the community of Liverpool, maybe you've been out and about today, I would very much like to hear from you. Of course, we are not going to speculate on anything like the motive, but just the appalling scenes, the shocking scenes, unimaginable on the streets of one of our biggest cities. I can tell you that Liverpool Football Club have just put out a statement on their feed. Let me bring it to you. We are in direct contact with Merseyside police regarding the incident on Water Street, which happened towards the end of the trophy parade earlier this evening. Our thoughts and prayers are with those who have been affected by this serious incident. We will continue to offer our full support to the emergency services and local authorities who are dealing with this incident. We're hearing as well from some eyewitnesses in terms of what they saw, what they heard. We'll replay you in a bit what Daniel in Blackpool had to say to us. His brother was at the celebrations, not actually as a Liverpool fan, but he was there with friends, enjoying the day, as he absolutely should have been, was entitled to do. Thankfully, he is all right. But again, if we hear anything more from Daniel, we will bring it to you. If you are in the area, do give us a call. Do tell us if you heard or have seen anything. If you have loved ones who were at the parade, some very shocking news that we're reporting here at LBC tonight about a 53-year-old white British man who has been arrested after a car ploughed into a crowd of people during the Liverpool FC Premier League victory parade. We'll be speaking with police experts, security experts throughout the course of the show here on LBC to bring you the very latest to try and paint a picture of what exactly has happened. Liam Gotting is LBC's reporter on the line now, our reporter in the Northwest. Liam, I appreciate we are just hearing more details, further details. Can you just give us a sort of rundown of what exactly has happened? What do we know so far? Evening, Liam.
This evening, Henry. Well, what we know so far is that Merseyside police say a 53-year-old man has been arrested after a car drove into pedestrians in Water Street in Liverpool. Currently unclear if that man was the driver. They've not heard that yet from Merseyside police. They say that they are asking people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding tonight's incident. Now, of course, this all took place mere moments, minutes after the end of Liverpool's celebrations after winning their 20th Premier League title. Hundreds of thousands of people were down by the waterfront to celebrate it. And this is just the most horrible day such a horrible end to such a happy day for hundreds of thousands of people who travelled to the city to be part of these celebrations. It's not yet clear how many people have been injured or to what extent. We know the officers have cordoned off the scene. Of course, that is still cordoned off. Northwest Ambulance Service say that crews are on hand to deal with the incident. And the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said the scene is appalling and has thanked the emergency services for their swift response. Now, a statement from Merseyside police, a spokesperson says that they would ask people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding tonight's incident. They say they can confirm a man has been arrested, a 53-year-old white British man from the Liverpool area. They say extensive inquiries are ongoing to establish the circumstances leading up to the collision and are asking people not to share distressing content online, but to send the footage or information directly to them at Merseyside police. But as I say, Henry, just a horrible end to what has been such a happy day, an incredible day here in Liverpool with, like I say, hundreds of thousands of people travelling from not just across the UK, but across the world to be here, to be part of this celebration. This is not the way I think anyone expected this to end so soon after the celebrations came to a close.
And you've been there today, Liam, just aside from, again, we don't know the full details exactly of what's happened other than what you have told us, but are you able to give us a flavour of, the sheer scale of this victory parade today? Because the city centre was absolutely heaving with people, with Liverpool fans, but also people who aren't necessarily football fans, who know how much the club means to the city.
Yeah, absolutely, Henry. The Liverpool City Council a couple of days ago told us that they were predicting at least 750,000 people would be here in Liverpool to see the victory parade. I was on a cherry picker above the Strand where at the end of the parade by the waterfront here in Liverpool, and you could not see the pavement. Like, there were just, everyone was shoulder to shoulder across both sides of the street, across the waterfront, red mist everywhere, as people were just so happy to celebrate that league title. And then, of course, after the parade was over, everyone sort of started to very slowly make their way away from the waterfront. And again, of course, those queues, the amount of people that were here, the sheer enormity of the people that were here, the volume, that took a long time as people very slowly scampered away. And now this collision seems to have taken place on Water Street, which is literally just one of the streets right next to the Strand, which is where I am now at the end of the Victory Parade. Mere minutes after this celebration had come to a close. As you say, we don't yet know all the details, but I think there are lots of people here because there are so many. People have not had phone connection, they've not had signal. And I've been walking around the city centre, and there are people here in the city who do not know this has even happened because they've not had the phone calls from loved ones, have not been able to look on the internet. You know, there are lots of people here who don't even know this has happened yet. And I've seen people sort of getting the news and seeing it, and people here just can't believe it. They can't imagine that after what has been such an incredible day, such a jubilant day, something like this could happen and has happened here in the city, right next to where those celebrations were taking place.
And what exactly, I know, understandably and obviously, a lot of the roads are closed, but from the pictures that I'm getting, I mean, there are police officers, emergency service workers everywhere. There are, I mean, I've lost count of the number of police vehicles, ambulance vehicles that are around. I mean, can you just give us a sort of what you're seeing? What picture are you seeing at the moment?
So at the minute, I'm just stood on sort of, like I said, the Strand at the minute, which is where the celebration ended. There are police cars, there are ambulances that are coming and going. As I was walking back from the train station, which is where I was when I saw this news break, I was coming back from the train station back towards the city centre, back in towards now the Strand at the front of the waterfront. You could see the ambulances coming and going, the police cars coming and going. As I say, you could see people looking at their phones, and obviously their signal coming back, and just that vision of disbelief, people on the phone sort of questioning, well, what do you mean this has happened? People just are in disbelief, I think, in this city right now. And as I'm looking around, I can see people still, I don't know if it looks like they're sort of informing each other of what's going on, or people are at least talking about what has happened. And, you know, police are obviously asking people not to speculate about what has happened, but people are, of course, going to talk about this with each other after what has been such an amazing day, such a happy day. You know, people here, I think, are just shocked that they're in disbelief about, you know, this news that we're now hearing.